All right, welcome. Today we're diving into a really powerful idea. How to stop letting your days just sort of happen to you and instead start designing the life you actually want. We're going to look at making that big shift from being a passive consumer to an active creator.
So let's kick things off with a feeling I'm pretty sure we've all had. You know the one? You get to the end of a super long day, you know you were busy, but when you try and think about what you actually got done, it's nothing. It's like your time just vanished into thin air.
So, where on earth does all that time go? Well, the source material for this explainer points to a pretty startling number, 7 hours. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. That is a massive chunk of our day.
Yep, 7 hours. And get this, that's not time you're sleeping, it's not time you're at your job, it's just gone. Lost to passively consuming stuff. So today, we're going to break down where that time is disappearing and, way more importantly, how you can get it back to build a life you're actually excited about.
All right, let's get into it. First up, we're going to look at this 7-hour gap and see exactly where all that time is going. Okay, and check this out, because this is where it gets really eye-opening. The data points to two main things: 4 hours a day watching TV, and another 3 hours just scrolling social media. Whoa. I mean, when you see it broken down like that 7-hour gap, it suddenly feels very, very real, doesn't it?
And here's the real key. This isn't just about wasting time. Nope. It's about living a life on autopilot. You know? A life filled with distraction, basically because there's no clear plan in place. It's like the difference between just watching someone else's movie and actually being the director of your own.
Okay, so this brings us to a really fundamental choice we all have to make. Are you going to be a consumer or are you going to be a creator?
And this slide just lays it out so clearly. It's all about that core mindset shift, right? Moving from being passive to being active, from just taking stuff in to actually giving something back, creating value. It's the big jump from being distracted to being intentional.
This right here, this is the turning point. It's such a simple idea, but man, is it powerful. The moment you consciously decide to create more than you consume, that's when you stop letting life just happen to you and you really start designing it.
Okay, so how do we actually do this? I mean, it sounds great, but how does it work in the real world? It's not just about trying harder or having more willpower. It's about having a real blueprint for your life.
You know, it really all boils down to having a plan. Because without one, distraction is always going to win. It's just too easy to slide back into those old habits. The source material lays out 3 key things. First, you've got to know your why, your purpose, what gets you fired up. Second, you need to set actual written down goals with real deadlines. That makes it all feel tangible. And third, you got to manage your calendar intentionally. Don't just let it be for appointments, use it to block out time for creation before anything else.
All right, so imagine this. You've started to figure out your purpose. You're getting back some of those 7 hours. Awesome. But now what? What do you actually do with all that time and energy? How do you get your ideas, your skills, your stuff out into the world? Well, there's a really cool modern framework for doing exactly that.
It's a concept from an author named Daniel Priestley, and it's called Becoming a Key Person of Influence, or KPI. And the whole idea is pretty simple. Stop just being a face in the crowd and start becoming that recognized, trusted voice in whatever it is you do. You become the go-to person for your specific thing.
But how do you even start to build that kind of trust and recognition, especially with how noisy the world is today? Well, this framework actually gives us a specific formula to follow. It's called the 7-11-4 rule. Think of it like a roadmap for how people get to know you, like you, and ultimately trust you. Let's break it down.
First up is the 7 hours. That's how much of your content, your articles, your videos, whatever you create, that someone needs to spend time with to really start building that foundation of trust with you.
Next up, 11 touch points. This just means they need to interact with you or your stuff in about 11 different ways over time. So maybe they read a blog post, then a week later see something you posted on social media, then they get your newsletter. It's how you stay on their radar and build that familiarity. And finally, the 4. Those interactions need to happen across 4 different places. Maybe they first find you on LinkedIn, then they listen to your podcast, then they check out your website, and maybe they even see you speak somewhere. This shows you're legit. It proves you're not just a one-trick pony.
So, once you've got that 7-11-4 rule in your head, the KPI method gives you 5 pillars to build on. They're called the 5 Ps. You need a clear pitch, that's your core message, a solid digital profile, so you're easy to find, a great product or service, a compelling way to present your ideas, and finally, smart partnerships to help get your message out there.
Okay, so what does this all mean for you, like right now? How do you take all these big ideas, getting your time back, finding your purpose, maybe even becoming a key person of influence, and actually make them happen in your life? Look, the goal here isn't to flip your entire life upside down overnight, not at all. It's just about taking one small intentional step. Seriously, just block out 1 hour in your calendar today just to create something, or swap 30 minutes of that mindless scrolling for a hobby you actually enjoy. Just write down one single goal. That journey from consumer to creator, it all starts with that one tiny first move.
So at the end of the day, it really comes down to this. You have 168 hours every single week. It's a blank canvas. You can let them get filled up with distractions by default, or you can choose to be the one holding the paintbrush. The choice really is yours, and it starts right now. So the only question left is, what are you going to design?